Hello, Gun Nation. Mike High let disco. Mike High let me down. He said ready. I said set, and then Pistol Pete said disco. I was gonna say let's go. All right, how's everyone doing this evening? Decided to start a little early because Chris from the 740 has his chat at 8 o'clock. So I'm trying to be considerate of everyone's time. I might have a guest on this evening. He's going to try to make it, so he already has a link. And Chris, also reach out to me whenever you get a chance. So, but yeah, I'm sure we'll do a quick roll call here and then we'll get into it. I was saying hi to everybody. We've got Bradley Tannehill, Chris from the 740, Scott 79, Pistol Pete. Let's see here, Mike I, and we'll have more as they come in. I'll say hello to them. Like I said, I wanted to start a little bit early. Actually 1 minute and 13 seconds, I believe. Hello, CZ Shadow 2, Casey Dolph, Milkman, MZ. I don't know if y'all saw, I was in Wichita Falls and had a breakfast burrito because I was starving. I didn't eat anything since yesterday, I guess it was yesterday, like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was starving. So I went to this place in Wichita Falls that's known for their breakfast burritos. And if y'all want to see it, it's on the community tab. But the thing is literally like the size of my forearm. It's probably a pound and a half or 2 pounds. And it's like $6.95, bacon, egg, cheese, uh, potato, and beans. It's pretty damn good. So that is in Wichita Falls, and the name of the restaurant I can't remember, but it's actually on. I put it on the picture if y'all are there. And a couple of people have already said, yeah, it's close to the Air Force Base, which it is. So if y'all are out that area and you want to try it, try it. It's a little bitty hole in the wall, and I love trying out hole in the walls. Since I travel so much, I'll ask people even at hotels like, hey, what's a really good place? Or I'll look up on Yelp or some of those places so I can get some ideas and then maybe try some out. Hello, A-Dubs. Dirt Track 410, Bagger Bro, Cajun Tiger. How are y'all? Um, First, what I want to say, is God bless those families, in Uvalde. Um, and I'm not going to say, I'm just going to say situation. We all know what happened, but I'm trying not to. I want this video to get out so everybody can hear it because I got some things to say. But, you know, God bless them. God bless Texas. I wish that wouldn't have happened. We all do. We've got mental illness. We've got big pharma. If y'all want to see my whole thing, I put it over on the community tab. I did a whole spiel. Um, you know, as we all know, as 2A supporters, a gun is a tool. A knife is a tool. A hammer is a tool. It's the person behind those items. A car is a tool, or a car, is a tool to get you to work, get you places, transportation. Um, it can be used in evil ways too, just like these. So, you know, they need to get away from the gun debate and they need to get to the mental illness and all of these other things. So, if you want to see my whole spiel, you can go over there and check it out. Nice, been making homemade breakfast burritos past few days. Yeah, I love breakfast burritos. I don't usually eat a lot of breakfast, but man, I was just starving this morning. Hello, Tactical Firearms. How are you, man? Absolutely agree. Big Johnson Guns and Gear. And another thing, I'm just going to say it, and I'm not the first to say it, but I've been saying it forever. Gun-free zones are shit. Gun-free zones need to be stopped. Look at where the majority of all of these situations happen. Good people with guns read the signs and say, okay, you know what? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Bad people don't read. They go to those for situations, to create situations. So gun free zones need to quit. They need to go away. Bye bye. Done. Every place need to say armed. We welcomed armed people. And I've been into some places that actually say that. Not just gun stores. I've actually been in restaurants that say that. West Texas, East Texas, hell, I've even been in hotels where they say that. because you never know where something's going to happen. So if you've got armed people there, how do you fight off a bad guy with a gun? A good guy with a gun. Period. End of sentence. That's it. Period. So, hello, reloading from the hot pot. How are you doing, Chris Davis, Bagger Bro? What's your opinion on a scope that can function as long range scope, 250 to 500 yards, in a scope I can hunt with? I'm looking at the SIG cross chambered in 308. Oh man, there's tons of scope, optics, things like that to choose from. Vortex has really good offerings. They've got the low line, the mid line, the high line. Primary arms actually have pretty damn good optics. I've used a lot of theirs and still own a lot of theirs. They have, mids, of course, the same tiers, low, mid, and high uh, glass. And what you're getting, a lot of people ask, they're like, what's the difference between this scope and that scope? Meaning budget and expensive. And what you're getting glass quality. If you've ever looked through a budget scope or a basic scope, and I'm not saying they're bad, please don't take this wrong. But if you've ever personally looked through a budget line scope and then you've looked through like a Vortex HD or something with premium glass, there's a huge difference. I mean, a huge difference. Your objective lens is different. Your turrets, I've had some where they have some slop in them. Then I've had some where they're super, just really crisp. You know, of course, with Vortex, you get the lifetime warranty. Primary arms, you get the lifetime warranty. So it's really, and I'm not saying you have to go buy the most expensive scope out there. Please don't take it that way. There's great offerings. I know that Monsoon Tactical, I know 740 and Hot Pot, recommend them and stuff. I've personally never used one. I've never even looked through one, so I can't speak on that. And I only give my opinions on what I've used. I've used Delta or Leopolds. Still have a couple Leopolds, Vortex HDs, of course, primary arms. And some of the primary arms I bought, some they sent me, but I bought the two most expensive ones personally. Let's see here, what else? There's Kales. But you're talking crazy money, and some of the Razor HDs aren't cheap either. So I would recommend going somewhere where you can maybe look through a bunch of them. And a lot of like my local gun store, if you want to look at a scope outdoor to where you can see grass and buildings and all of that, they'll let you they'll walk with you outside so you can take the scope with you. I recommend doing that, not just looking at the store because you've got, the weird fluorescent lighting in most of them. It can distort some things, play with the turrets, see what you think about it. Some of them even have them mounted on guns or the fake guns, so you can pick up the fake gun and kind of play with them. Hello, IBG. How are you, man? But I just recommend doing your research, and I really do personally like the Razor HDs. That's just me. The glass is unbelievable. It's got Japanese glass, not China. The turrets are better, that kind of stuff. Hey, what's up, Bald and Curious? How are you, man? How important in a scope mount, the prices range drastically. Bagger Bro, if you think about it, and I've brought this up before, scope mounts are very important and scope rings are very important. That's what holds your optic on there with the recoil to make sure that it's not going to loosen up, your scope's not going to twist. Scope mounts and scope rings are very important. So I recommend getting higher quality. I have used the cheap ones. I can show you the cheap ones. I think I have a box of them. Of like 5 or 6 different ones, and they're anywhere from super cheap, like China crap, mid grade, all the way up to the high ends. I really honestly prefer the mids to the high ends. If you're dealing with scope rings, I will tell you EGW. It's capital E, capital G, capital W. They have their midline scope rings. They're awesome. I actually have their precision high-end ones where they're matched. So it's a billet steel and they actually match them. So they're match grade. It's a 1 and a 2. So they match them up perfectly because it's all out of the block, same block. If you're dealing with scope rings, I highly recommend EGW. The mid-ranges really aren't that bad for pricing. and you're getting a really good clamp to the Picatinny rail. I've seen guys shooting like 308s, and they've supposedly had them torqued down, and it just flies off, or it just starts, like the back one will come off and your scope's wiggling around. I've actually seen scopes actually turn in scope rings, and they were supposedly torqued down properly. So, it's really, there's all different types, but your scope rings or your mount is super important because that's what holds everything together. You're taking two pieces and trying to make them one. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Her story. I'm sorry, I can't even. Americanair. Hello, Lynn Holt. Hey, Big J. Tomorrow's my 18th birthday. Going to shoot at TGE by myself for the first time. Hey, Bradley. Congratulations, man. Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday. That is awesome. Man, whew, what I did when I was 18. It's crazy. Making me feel old, Bradley. Let's see here. I'm just marking these off real quick. I don't know if y'all saw. Governor Abbott had a kind of a press conference today speaking about what happened and things like that. And old Francis interrupted. He came up to the front, started spewing gun, we're going to take away guns and we're going to do all this and blah, blah, blah. What are you going to do? And da, 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 da. No, but everybody mentions the gun. They never mention mental health. If there's a drunk driver car crash and they kill a family, do they try to blame the car? Do they blame the alcohol? No, they blame the drunk driver. I'm just going to say this. Not many people have said this, but remember 9/11? Did they blame the planes? Nope. But when it's a gun, it's the gun's fault. I'm just trying to get this out there so people who might not be in the 2A community can hear this and see this and maybe just start thinking, you know what? They're right. So there you go. Any manufacturer that provides torque specs to me has something going on. I take exception to the lapping of the rings. Yeah, and that is the thing about EGW. Just so you know, you don't have to lap the rings. They're pretty much done. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could. And I'm familiar with lapping compound. I mean, I did it back in the old days, even in cars with valves and things like that. So you can really get to it. But they make very quality stuff. And if y'all don't know anything about EGW, they really make a lot of 1911 parts. So when you buy a SIG 1911 or you buy another brand 1911 or some 2011s also, I'll tell you this, a lot of those parts in there are MIM. If you're not familiar with MIM, you can look it up. They're like cast. It's like a cast stainless part is what they say. So it's not made out of billet and things like that. So sears, hammers, pins, gun pins that actually go through the firearm. What I've done in the past is I've taken all the MIM parts off because personally, I know a lot of people haven't had this happen. I have had back in the day, with probably poor quality MIMing, I've had MIM parts fail. So I've taken all the MIM parts out of a bunch of 1911s and put forged or billet parts in the 1911s. EGW offers all of those. So you can buy them all separate. You can buy them as kits, and you can upgrade your MIM'd 1911/2011 to billet parts. So a lot more durability, a lot more QC. The finish is better. I've actually had a hammer spring, or not a ham, where the hammer spring goes, the pin that goes back to the 1911. I've actually had one bowed and cracked, and it was done at the factory. So I didn't do it. And then also I had a hammer, an actual hammer, break. So it came down when I was trying to fire it, and it just like kind of shattered on one side, and it was MIM. So I just do that from my experience, and that's when you buy the higher 1911s, higher 2011s. 90% of every one of those parts are billet or forged. They're not MIM. So when you buy a cheaper firearm in a 1911, 2011, 99% of those are MIM. And not just one part. The majority of all your stainless parts that you see, they're all MEM. So please be aware of that. Yes, Matt, I do agree. I'm pissed too. I'm pissed. It makes, shit like this makes us all look bad. Yep, his name is Francis. He's not Spanish or Mexican. He is Irish. So Francis is definitely a POS, using a tragedy for political reasons. That guy should be tarred and rolled in feathers, blah, blah, blah. Also, if you heard him come out and say, I'm not going to take your guns, he just said that not even 6 weeks ago when he was running. Now, if you pay attention, he talks out of both sides of his face because he's a politician. And he's under Mike Bloomberg. He's getting that money. Oh, boy, that went fast. Hang on a second. I avoid anything with mold injections. I always replace those as well. Yeah, and a lot of MEM parts are molded injected. Hey, what's up, Uncle Dan? I talked to Uncle Dan today, matter of fact. Hell, we talk like every couple of days, and I talked to Ball just the other day. So always good to communicate with good people. Oh, here's Channel Cat. Hell, I was just chatting with him, texting with him before the chat went live. Let's see here. I was asking about it in the last chat, but did buy a CZ97B last weekend. Haven't shot it yet, but going to the range tomorrow. Hey, awesome, man. I think you'll really like it. They're great guns. They shoot really, really nice. I think you'll have a really good time with it. Congratulations, man. Let's see here. Also, if y'all want to see it, some people, I kind of put some pictures up and I wanted to share this. Okay, y'all can see the name, Kore. This is the new Core Battle Belt. And if y'all want any Core products, you can use my code. It's capital BJGG10, save you 10% off. But here's the new Battle Belt that I've been testing. Y'all are going to be the first to see it. There's my QVO holster. That's for the 2011/X300. There's the med kit on the back, shears, all that stuff. Got the mag pouches for the pistol and Harry's Holster's new AR pouch. This thing's pretty awesome. You can actually adjust this at any angle you want. It's fully adjustable. So I've got it on there. But I've been dry firing with this thing, playing with it. If y'all can't see it, it is Ranger green with black, all black thing. I thought that would look kind of cool. I wanted something a little different. My other one is all camouflaged. So this is this is like my fourth Battle Belt. Two of them were complete shit, not Core, but two other brands were complete shit. And I have the blue Alpha Gear, which I really do like. And you'll notice I do want to point this out to y'all. I did this on purpose. Okay, most of your Core switches, your buttons are on the bottom. But on this belt, you can actually reverse it. So I set it up for a left-hander because if you look right here, see, you can run your mag pouches all the way to the very front. So you can actually, they would be over here if I had the belt flipped. I could have the mag pouches all the way over here. But I kind of like the button on the top on the Battle Belt. The neat thing about the Battle Belt is you have 5 inches of actually track adjustment. I'll let you hear it. So this is the very first Battle Belt I have ever used that you can adjust on the fly. And the really cool thing about this is, like, if you want to sit down, you can click it out and you can do this. Or if you want to just stay stationary and shoot, you don't have to keep it tight. If you know you're going to run, you can just click it up tight and take off, whatever you want to do. But so far, with 3 dry fire sessions, I did one out in the backyard on the back fence, and I did some in here. Or out in the backyard, I wore it for about over an hour. I had mag pouches on it. I had the Staccato P with the SRO in it with the comp. I had it all loaded up, and I actually really like it. That adjustment, you don't think about it. It's only like 5 inches of adjustment, but you can really fine tooth that thing in. And on other battle belts, you have to completely take them off. You have to undo your buckle. You have to adjust it out or adjust it in, and then you have to cinch it all back together. It's a pain in the ass. Also, the reason why I did this side, and I do run QLS on all of these are Safariland. So, because I have tons of these holsters or different holsters, so I can actually just take them and snap them on. I'm trying to do this backwards. So you can just snap it on there, and then you just run this through around your leg, and I wrap it through here so I don't have to remove it out. You don't want to put it on your holster. But since I have so many different guns, I can just mount different holsters, and I don't ever have to adjust my belt for it. So they work really, really well. So far, I'm digging it, though. But y'all are the first to see it. I haven't done a video on it. I usually like to really test stuff before I do a true video on it. Also, I did get another belt, another core gun belt, and this is just a chunk off of it I saved so you could see it. But this is the color of it. These are the 2.0 versions, so they're actually thicker. I mean, you can't crush this thing. I wore it all this week. You know, I just got it, but I wore it all this week, and so far, it's awesome. I mean, the core belts are legit. And if you're not familiar, I saved a piece of this too. This is the core battle belt. So you've got Molly here on the top, and you've got Molly here on the bottom. So you actually run everything through here, and you can weave it in and out of your pouch, and it really holds it really tightly. And if you want a little tip, when you're loading something through Molly, just bend it like that, and your Molly will open up so you can load it, because it's a pain in the ass if you're pulling on this. And this is the backing belt. So if you're trying to load it, just do the opposite and it opens up your Molly for you. I've done a ton of battle belts, and they're not, I mean, if you want them super tight and everything tight, they can be a pain in the ass to get everything exactly the way you want it. And I mean, I could even change some things on this. I'm just testing it. I tried it first with the latch on the bottom, and it's fine because that's what I'm used to with my normal core belts. But on this one, I kind of like it on the top. So I don't know, but I might switch it around. I had it the correct way first, and then I switched it. Even the core guy was like, Carl was like, "Hey, you know, you got that buckle upside down, and or you got that belt upside down." And I said, "I know." He said, "Oh yeah, a lot of left-handers do it that way." And I told him why I did it, and he was like, "Oh, that makes sense." Hello, Miss Hotshot. How are you? Man, I put out. I saw an alert for 308 ammo. It was 308, and it was 150 grain soft point. And you know, you can use that for hogs or whatever you want to use it for, just even plinking. And it was $13.47 a box, which is really good for 308. I actually sent it to a couple of my buddies, and I was like, "Hey," and I was going to buy some. And then I got on a conference call, got hung up on it, and then I went back to buy it, and they were sold out. So I put email me when it's available, and it was available today, and now it's $14.99. So I'm like, God dang it, should have bought it, because I was going to get, you know, like 1,000 rounds of it just to have more. Yes, sir. How are you doing, Russ? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, Keith Gregory. How are you doing? That's actually a really good question, Bald. This right here, you can actually have it, and you don't have to, because this it comes with a double belt. So you don't even really have to use the double belt if you don't absolutely want to. But, you know, I usually keep these loaded up, and I do carry them with me in the truck, not to where they can be stolen. I've got videos of what I have set up for stuff like this, but you can have them ready to go if something were to happen. You can actually have them right by your bed on a hanger, a special little hook hanger. You can grab it, you can put it around in your underwear, and you've got ammo you need. And definitely, if crap hit the fan, I'm throwing on a battle belt, because you've got everything at the ready. Also, this one and my other one does work with my armor. So I've got the vest, it clears. you just don't know what's going to happen. And for competition, and I've said this before, and I've got a competition belt too. I think you've seen it, the double alpha gear and all the mag pouches and stuff for USPSA. But between the two belts, I actually really like the battle belts more. And I even wore one time. It was a long time ago, but I wore one time and shot no score because it wasn't a legal holster and all this stuff. So I shot a USPSA event for no score because I just wanted to test it. And I don't really care about scores and all that shit. I'm not, that's just not me. I've already had my competitive days back in the day, but I want to shoot with something that I'm truly going to use. If crap hits the fan, I'm not throwing on my USPSA race belt and running down the street. That's just not me. Maybe some people would, but I just try to use and practice with what I would use in the real world. And I'm not saying USPSA is bad. Don't get me wrong. I actually like it, but I just want more, being able to test this type of equipment versus just USPSA stuff. So, hello, Michael L. How are you? Doing okay. Just upset about the school shooting and finding out the FBI knew he was a threat to kill people and didn't red flag him and have him investigated really torques my trigger. Yeah, I hear you. As far as the red flag laws, us in the 2A community have to be very cautious about those because think about it. You or I or Hot Pod or other people do YouTube videos. People could actually just call us out to the FBI and say, hey, he needs a red flag put on him. You know, we're good guys with guns. And then you have to prove and go to court and do all this other shit that you're not a nuisance or whatever. Red flag laws can also be brought up if a husband and a wife divorce and the wife knows that the husband has guns. She could all of a sudden, just out of the blue, just say, well, he threatened me with a gun. Boom, he's going to have a red flag placed upon him, and they're going to take all of his guns and everything else when he really did nothing wrong. So that red flag laws are actually a bad thing. So we've got to be careful about that. You can't just throw that word out. Um, just gotta be aware of it. But yes, there were flags regarding this person. I'm not saying his name. I don't do that, and I will not do that. I honestly think they need to keep the pictures of these people that do this completely off the news, and they need to keep the names of these people completely off the news because they are wanting notoriety. They're thinking this is their claim to fame. So that's why a lot of them do it. So I really think they need to stop doing that shit. That's my opinion. If yours differs, it does, but that's mine. Yeah, I think I have I have the little loaded chamber indicator that pops up on mine. I think it's stupid. I really hate it. But it is what it is. But yeah, don't put Loctite on it. What is my God dang it, I forget the damn name of it. It is a shit. I've got a video on it where I talk about the name of it. I don't know why it just went blank. It's a very good one, and the plates are very good also. Mine is it's got a little bit of camo on it and some FDE, and it's not the gray man version, but I did get her. It's a very expensive one, but I actually got a really good deal on it through a local guy in Plano, Texas. It was a sample where they just kind of show it. Nobody ever wore it, and they come in different sizes. So like when they meet with police departments. They can try them on when they meet with Texas Rangers, Border Patrol. They can try them on, look at them, the quality of them, and they're just simply samples. Well, at the end of showing all the samples, they're able to sell them. So, I mean, I think it was like it was like 300 and something dollars. And I was able to get it for 160 bucks or something like that. I told some other buddies about them, and they purchased them too. I even told Uncle Dan about it. I can't remember if Uncle Dan got one though. Yeah, and I did see that. However, supposedly all of this happened within 30 minutes, supposedly. So I don't know. I mean, none of us were there, but I don't know. When am I, or where did it go here? When are you branding your Kid Rock cornrows? Yeah, they're pretty damn long. I got the little flips and all that shit going on. It's definitely long in the back. It's got that natural curl in it. Hello, Vanessa Kitty. How are you? I've been meaning to get a plate carrier and armor, but to me, it's like more like an emergency need item and not something fun like a gun. It's like a fire extinguisher. Hopefully, it never gets used. That's true. What I decided to go with after talking to the guys there who fit the police department, the border patrol, and everything, because that's what they specialize in. LE. They have multiple LE contracts. This particular company. When I spoke with them, I was like, okay, do I get steel plates or do I get God, what's the other one? And I've got some of them down here too. I've got some extra plates, but I decided to go with level 4, and it's called thin steel. It's actually real steel. It's got spalling, anti-spalling agent on it. And I've got the video. I think I've got videos and all that stuff on it. But I decided to go with the thin steel, and I have a shooter's cut. If you're familiar with it, so it's not the big square. It actually is a shooter cut. So right here, it's cut at an angle. It's cut at an angle. It's somewhat minimalistic, so it just covers your main organs, so to say. So it is easier to maneuver around with. Also, without it being square at the top, if you draw if you pull up your rifle, you don't catch it on the corner. If you draw your pistol, it just helps having the shooter cut to me personally, because I have really wide shoulders and it just didn't fit right. Yeah, the other ones are ceramic. That's what they are, Uncle Dan. I have ceramic plates, but can't remember the brand. I have them in a Tigris carrier. The carrier is cheap, but holding up great. All right, let me let him in. What's up, brother man?
I've got no sound, so I have no idea why that is. Awesome.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. It's been a while. Let's see here. Bald and Curious, Harry's Holsters. Same time you're going to start making light bearing holsters. Just hold tight, everybody. I have a few vests in the house, one for each of my family members. Better to have them and not need them, type of thing. Yeah, exactly. I've got another one in the house too. It is the bigger one, and it does have bigger pads. Can you hear now? 17, can you hear?
I can hear you. Yep.
All right. Yeah, I could hear you fine before.
Yeah, I had to turn on something. It's been a while, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably had to get that memory back in order for doing these chats. If y'all, and some of the subscribers may not know you, if y'all don't know 1776 or Bust, he has a YouTube channel also. We used to do the 3 guys chat. It was himself, myself, and KS Gun Guy. So we did that for, gosh, what was it, like 3 or 4 years, something like that?
Yeah, just about.
And then he got busy, 17 got busy, and it, so we try to get together every once in a while and do these chats and have y'all on, or so everybody can give your opinion. If you want to give an opinion, and I'm not going to say what happened, but I know you know what happened. If you want to give your opinion on it, you're more than welcome to. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. I didn't use the term. I just used the situation. Um, but if you want to give your 2 cents.
Well, I mean, obviously we're gonna, hear the typical jargon about guns are bad, and I know good old Grandpa Joe told us all today that it's about the lobbyists and all this other shit, when half of us don't even care about the NRA anymore.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like, if you're gonna have an honest discussion, man, this is where everything gets a little bit bent, because obviously we have a problem. I mean, there's no doubt about it, because in a matter of 2 weeks, you got two mass shootings. Both are young males, regardless of race. To me, it's not about race. It's about, there's a problem here, and it's not about guns, in my opinion, because we have a ton of guns in the country, and they want to blow it up like we're having so many mass shootings. And the key also is school shootings. Just keep in mind, if a gun goes off in a school zone accidentally, they consider that a school shooting. So those numbers could be artificially inflated, obviously. But I think the bigger question has to be, where are we as a society when we have 18-year-olds who are so disenfranchised in everything, and they feel the only way to, I don't know, feel accepted or get back at people is to be so angry to go and shoot people? I mean, I think that's got to be the question. A lot of people are going to blame things. They're going to blame schools, of course. They're going to blame, whatever. But, I would ask anybody to go out to your local communities and find out what mental health help there is. And you're going to find there's not much. There's really not much available. And, we can sit here and say people are weak, and, the youth today is so weak and all this other stuff. But we can't do that anymore. And there's a simple reason why. These people are not the same as us. They're not. It's a completely different group of people. And what I mean by that is, very simply, we grew up a different way. We grew up in a different time period. We didn't have access to half the shit that these kids have access to. So if you're going to tell me that somehow doesn't play with their minds, you're wrong. And, obviously it's a tragedy. This is a disgusting tragedy. But
Yeah,
at
and
the
there's a
same
lot
time,
of
I mean, what are we
there's
supposed to
a
do?
yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of, there's deals, broken homes or no mother or father figures in the homes and things like that, that can play a role. I mean, I came from a broken home personally.
Mhm.
So, 5 years old, I was with my mom, and my dad, divorced. And I mean, I still contacted him, but, it's one of those weird deals. So we've all been through weird stuff like that. But, I think also social media is good in a way, but it's complete poison in another way. Um, and I've been to Uvalde many times. That's part of my area that I cover, and then I head down there. Very, very nice people. It's dominantly Hispanic. Super nice people. Friendly, wave to you, the whole works. But you know, if you start seeing as your kid, your grandkid, or something is starting having some problems, or something's just not right, you know, that's where you can, maybe get a doctor involved, things like that, to get him on the right track. Also, I think we agree on this, but big pharma plays a huge role in a lot of this stuff too. These kids are so drugged up on ADHD medicine, on, antidepressants. I mean, kids and adults are on all different kinds of things. Some of them are, I'm not saying every one of them. And if you take those, I'm not discrediting those either. But, there's just media. I mean, trying to get, everybody wants to be a star on social media now. What do you want to be? I'm going to be an influencer.
Right.
I'm going to make it big on YouTube. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Some people are like, what, how I can be, become a star. I mean, that's the way some of these people start thinking. And that's really messed up. But man, there's just, and like you said, when, we were younger, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, ugh,
Yeah.
but
I mean, again, even with going to a doctor, the problem is that you're not going to find a lot of mental health facilities available. So it's the availability of it, and then when you do, they're completely overwhelmed, because there is a mental health crisis in this country right now. There's no
yeah,
doubt. I mean,
and all
it's
of these kids, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but the kids were out of school, the kids were this, the kids were that. There's social online bullying. Um, a lot of kids, and I mean, I talk to them. Hell, I see kids a lot with what I do. Not little bitty kids, but 17, 16, 18-year olds, stuff like that. And some of them will talk to you like a normal human being, and some of them are just awkward as shit. I mean, it's like they
Right.
have no social skills.
Well, you
And
also got to figure that, in the past 2 years, there was this massive isolation of people,
yeah,
so the development that normally should have occurred in those 2 years has not. And, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't want you
yeah,
guys to think that somehow I study that, but I work with people. My wife works with people that are around this shit every day. And the problem is right now is that you are seeing people who have not developed properly emotionally, socially, psychologically. And then when they were kind of, everything shut down for the most part, they never had an opportunity to regain any of it back, because then when everything reopened, it was like boom, boom. So
yeah,
now there's no emotion, there's no empathy. There's this idea that somehow, kids nowadays, they say you need to respect me. I don't need to respect any kid. Do you
yeah,
need to treat them right? Yes, you do.
yeah,
But respect isn't something that is just a word to be thrown around. That's something you earn over time.
yeah.
But I think, like you said, with the social media, to me, social media is absolutely um, one of the biggest problems we're having right now as a country. And you and I are both technically in social media. Like right
Yep,
now, we're doing social media.
yep.
So
No, and I've said that too. I mean, I have kiddos, you have kiddos, and it's like, the stuff that, and of course, my kiddo's, 25, but I mean, the stuff that amuses her and she sends to me and like, hey, look at this. It's funny. I watch it and I'm like, what the hell? This is not even funny. It's just stupid.
mhm.
So everybody has different opinions on things. I'm old school. I'm sure you're somewhat old school, but it's like, man, I remember if I used to do dumb shit, I would get my ass whooped. I
Yep.
mean, it would be a whooping. It's not just like, hey, stop that timeout bullshit. It's like there were penalties, there were things
Yep.
involved, but even with a broken home, I still had that stuff put on me.
Right.
So,
And it's funny you say that, because, I have a 15 and a 16-year-old, and we were just eating dinner before I got on here. That's why I came in late. Sorry. But she, my daughter asked me, she's 15, Dad, what do you think? Why do you think this is going on still? And I said to her, there's a million reasons why. I mean, we could sit here and say whatever, but I said to her, one of the biggest problems is that you guys as a group, an age group, have no idea what it means to get a boot to your ass.
yeah,
You think you don't have to play by rules. You think that you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want. And at the end of the day, there's no repercussions. Well, guess what? There should be. And that's the problem also. We've taken away those repercussions. Parents don't want to hit kids. And I'm not saying you beat them with a stick or a rod, but you know what? A little bit of fear in the heart of a child, it can go a long way, man,
yeah.
and telling them what's what.
And I mean, I played sports my whole life, football and stuff. And I mean, I remember, this is no shit, I'm a freaking grown ass man in high school. I mean, I was a big guy, and I remember the coach was like, "Get your ass in here. You're going to get whooped with this wooden freaking, it wasn't a little spoon. It was a goddamn paddle with air. He had drilled air holes in it so he could get, some aerodynamics behind it. And I mean, he'd raise my ass off the floor. And this is shit, I was 16, 17 years old, getting my ass whooped by a coach.
Yeah.
And, we'd have teachers go, you know what? Get out of here, you dumbass. I mean, out of schools
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff. I mean, it was a whole different ball game back then. Now
Yep.
it's, oh, we're calling your parents, or we're calling your mom, because you might only have a mom or a dad. And, the dad's like, well, don't do that no more, or just picks your ass up and dumps you off at the house and goes back to work.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and also, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but and this is just something, we had them back when I was young too, but now, man, I see grown ass men that don't even go to work because they play them 24/7, but these damn video games,
Mm.
and I've seen them. I'm not really a video guy, and I'm not knocking anybody who is, but when you've got a young kid sitting there running through a town, blasting people apart, it's like, okay. And I'm not knocking, people can do what
Sure.
they want to do. It's a free country. But, when people take the video game to the real life situation, and I've watched some documentaries where they were like, why did you do what you did? And they're like, oh, because we did it in the video game. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
man,
I don't necessarily agree with that, because I remember in the 80s when you had Al Gore's wife who was going after heavy metal because, you know,
Yeah.
anybody who listened to metal was a Satanist and a baby killer, you know?
Yeah.
And it's always, they're always looking for something to blame.
Yeah.
And the problem is that if you look at it hard enough and long enough, you're going to realize that honestly society is to blame right now,
Yeah.
because we're losing the foundations of what society used to be. It used to be based around religion, whether you're religious or not, that's your choice. But it used to be based around religion. It used to be based around the family unit. It used to be based upon hard work and trying to, you know, make sure that you could provide so that your children could actually be better off than you were, and then their children's children, and then on and on and on. But we've lost that. We have lost that idea of who are we as people. I mean, to me, this kid, and I'll call him a kid even though he's a man, but he's 18 years old. He obviously, it's coming out more and more that he was doing things. I guess he was self-harming himself. So then how did this all take shape over the course of several years, where then he just has this psychological breakdown because he didn't graduate with his class, and then shoots, that's supposed, again, these are all allegations, but then goes up and shoots an elementary school. So at somewhere, someone in politics, because obviously, you know, they're all running their mouths, I think somebody has to realize that we're not doing enough for the right things. You know, we're busy right now. Dumbass is talking about, oh, for God's sakes, everybody knows what has to be done. Yeah, what has to be done is we need to acknowledge there's a mental health crisis. We need to acknowledge that there's a drug crisis, and we need to acknowledge that we have a social media crisis.
Yeah.
That's where these problems are coming from.
And, you know, like I brought up in my statement, you know, when I posted that over on the community tab, okay, you've got states with the stiffest gun laws, okay, and you're in one of them. New York, Chicago, you know, California, all these places. Hell, man, there's hundreds of people killed weekly in Chicago.
Yep.
Weekly. So, and then they're like, oh, it's gun problem. No, it's gangs, it's fentanyl, it's drugs. It's, you know, there's all kinds of things. And when they're smuggling over the fentanyl, you don't think they're sending boatloads of guns? Yeah, they wonder how these people get guns. A lot of them come from Mexico. So, you know, it's like there's all this other crap that's going on, but that's pushed to the side, and that's not a problem. But, you know, now all of a sudden, you know, guns are the bad thing.
Well, so you're always going to take it. You're always going to go to the least common denominator. You know, they know that guns are prolific in the country because there's more of them than there are people. But at the same time, the people who support gun rights are less than the people who would probably want to take them away. And so that's their go-to, because they know they can't argue or even discuss a point that begins to bring up what caused an 18-year-old in Buffalo to go and become a racist and then kill a bunch of people, knowing that nobody would be able to defend themselves. Yeah. And then what caused another 18-year-old to go into a school filled with babies, man, and going into a classroom and just slaughtering them.
Yeah.
Like, somebody has to ask the question, what is wrong with us?
Yeah, because he barricaded himself in there and they happened to be in there. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what in the hell is going on? And you know, they can't blame an inanimate object. It's just sitting there. You know, it's the person who picks it up and does what they're going to do with it, whether it be a hammer, you know, a freaking pocket knife, whatever it is.
Sure.
And then all these other countries are like, we don't have gun problems. No. And I've been to London. I've been to I've been to London. I've been to Dubai. I've been to all these other places. They don't have a gun problem. They have a knife problem. I mean, there are people like, there's a guy on a tram, or they call them tubes in London. He's on a tube. He takes this little bitty freaking frog poker and he mutilates 15 people, and nobody can stop him. Nobody, because there's not a guy with a bigger machete, or there's not a guy with a gun who could stop that threat immediately. You know, that's what I'm saying. They're at everyone's mercy. And that's the same thing, you know, what I said earlier, in a gun-free zone. You know, it's like, where does probably 70, 80% of this stuff happen? In a lot of gun-free zones.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I mean, they're you know, they're just inviting the hens or the wolves to the hen house. So stop them, you know, say, post up in those school zones. Hey, we're armed to the teeth. Come on in, you know. I mean,
so really quick, two things that are being brought up on the side chat here. So Russ Dennis said the kid bought 2 ARs legally, and that's true. They were legally purchased. So then now the question has to be, you know, how do you prevent that? But I guess it's everything that kind of fell through the cracks prior to that. And interestingly enough, you know, I keep hearing people like, is there any state I don't know, man, because I go through the Gestapo here in New York State.
Yeah.
But is there any state that does not require a background check? Because
No.
they keep throwing that in, and as far
No.
as I know, there's not. So
Yeah, but
why do they keep
they
coming back
want
to
is
that?
what they want is a universal background check.
Mhm.
Not just a standard background check. And the standard background check, what they need to do is also notify people of how many people have been denied. There's a shitload of people denied.
Sure.
So they don't ever say that. They just say we need background checks. Well, we already have them. It's a 4473. So, but they want a universal background check. There is a difference, and you can look up the long definition of it. But basically they want to start a registry. They want to know what everyone out there has. And from what I understand, the ATF has already started one off the record, and it's already been leaked within the past couple of days. But that's what I'm saying, and this polymer 80 ghost guns and stuff, we've talked about that. And what they're considering a ghost gun is if I take a real firearm, not a P80 or polymer 80, and I scratch the serial number off, and it's used in a crime, that is now a ghost gun because it has no serial number that they can visibly see because it's been ground off. Do you know? I mean, I have a friend of mine that's a captain at a police department, my local area. And do you know, and we're not in a high crime area, but he's got a whole drawer full of high points and all these other things where all that shit's been ground off because, some criminals are smart enough and some of them look like they did it with a head of a nail.
Right.
So you can still kind of see it, but that's now a ghost gun. And that's how they're saying all these ghost guns. No, it's not polymer 80 issue. I mean, hell,
Right.
I could kill you with a freaking nail gun that you build houses with.
And and interestingly enough, the other problem we're having, especially in my health state, is really just a lack of police enforcement. So they did bail reform in New York. You're seeing how that's working in the city. That's working real well.
Yeah.
You talk about, marginalizing major crimes into minor offenses. So instead of you getting arrested, you're getting appearance tickets on the hope that you're going to come back to court. And, I would just ask if there's any New Yorkers out there, how's that working out for you guys? Seriously. You can't, like, we just go down the city, like catch a show or a Knick game or something like that. I told my wife, I said, we're not going. We're done with the city because there's so much violent crime right now down there that it's unbelievable. And it's not just stabbings, it's shootings.
Yeah.
So, and why is that? Because the criminals, this whole thing about gun control, it is the biggest line of bullshit that any politician is going to feed you. Gun control does not stop crime.
No.
It stops people from defending themselves from crime. Because again, whatever you guys want to argue, if you're anti-guns, go ahead, try it. But at the end of the day, no criminal will follow any gun control law because they're criminals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's common sense.
Yeah. But that's the thing. If they say it and they spew it and say all this other stuff, people are like, non-true gun people or that are at least familiar with the law, they're like, oh my gosh, they're right. I better vote for them. I better, stop this whole mess. It's all keyword crap. And if you ever watch the news or listen to it or whatever, this station will say this key word. The next station will say that exact key word. It's like they've all been programmed of words of the day to use. Right. And, the gun, laws and that idiot saying deers don't wear Kevlar vest. Yeah. He says that in every freaking speech. I'm like, you are a damn dumbass. Right. I mean, he makes
and again, no sense. What is he really doing? He's really targeting the honest civilian and putting them in the category of a criminal.
Yep.
If I want to own an AR-15, that's my prerogative. It's not yours. I'm not going to do anything with that except for go target shooting. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
it. Or home defense.
Or home defense.
Yeah.
So you're, once again, it's this broad brush that if you own a gun, you're evil, because again, they do not want to start the argument of why are we seeing these people act the way they're acting? And that's the question that has to be answered. And there is no politician alive right now that is willing to say that, because you know why? Because there is no answer. Yeah. And the reason why there's no answer is no one's willing to invest in this idea of building communities back, getting this the nuclear family back into the realm of reality. And that's every community across the board. Like, everybody wants to make it a racial problem. Oh, the black community, the white community. It's every community, and yes, you said you came from a broken home and all that other stuff. But again, it's a different generational thing.
Yeah.
You know, kids today are watching all kinds of bullshit on social media about all these people and these personalities who have these perfect lives. And they look at their life and they realize, holy shit, my life sucks and I'm miserable because of it. And they just can't get out of that spiral.
Yeah, but what they don't understand, and behind the scenes, I've even said this, joking with my kid. I said, okay, there's this girl on, and my daughter's like, oh, I really like this girl, blah 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 on social media, and I said, you know what? She shot that great picture, and then after she went and cried her ass off. I mean, nobody knows behind the stories. I know of a guy. I don't do Facebook, but my wife does. We actually know of this family. I'm not going to say their name or anything. They advertise their boat, they advertise their nice cars and their nice house and all this other shit. Those son of a bitches don't even have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I know them personally.
Yep.
And I'm like, they're living a lie.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people are. And it's like, when you push through the bullshit, everybody has some kind of, like I have crazy, not crazy, I don't want to say that word, but I have weird people in my family. Every family probably has some of those weird people. Matter of fact, I have an uncle that is really literally a genius. He has like 10 patents. He's actually, and Harry knows who I'm talking about, but he has started some really awesome stuff. But you talk to him and he has no fucking common sense, but he has 3 goddamn degrees.
Let me ask you, is that the uncle who invented the vibrator?
No, no. But he's actually he has 5 of the patents were sold to the military, if that tells you anything. No, he's very smart.
Tells me it was definitely a vibrator.
Yeah. But and he's on the New York Stock Exchange, all the other stuff. But it's like you talk to him and it's like, do you know how to tie your shoes, dude? So I mean, there's all different kinds of those people. But to like the race thing, that just pisses me off. We all bleed red. I don't care if you're black, blue, purple, green, it doesn't matter to me. We all bleed red. So, and that's the thing. They want to keep us divided. They
Sure.
want to keep us fighting amongst each other. That otherwise, if we all group together, then they got a bigger
Right.
problem on
But
their hands.
and I would always say, for myself being a person of color, have I experienced racism in my 47 years? And the answer is yes. I mean, I directly been called things and told things. So yeah, I experienced it, but it's also the mentality. It's the victimization mentality. And
Yeah.
that's what they want people to have. They want you to feel bad for yourself because you're a minority and you've been downtrodden. But, it's a choice. You either allow it to affect you and make you feel bad for yourself, and then you never get out of that rut, or you say, you know what, fuck you. I'm still going to prove you wrong every step of the way.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do or say.
Yeah. And even when I was a little kid and I'd go to my grandparents, for the summer, and hell, I even lived with my grandparents for a couple of years. They lived in it wasn't that great of a neighborhood, but they owned both these big ass houses. So what's funny is my grandparents had this house on the corner, and then the old lady moved out next door. So my grandma bought her house, and my grandma would live in that house sometimes, and my grandfather would live in this house, but they loved each other. So I'd be out playing. I had shorts on, no shirt, no shoes, no nothing, and I was tan as shit. So people would come over and say, "Hey, can the little Mexican come out and play?" And I wasn't Spanish, but I looked like it. And I played with everybody. We had all different kinds of races. It didn't matter to me. But this crap of, you're this, you're that, you're this, and pushing all their agendas. I mean, I remember, and I know you do too, when I used to go to elementary school and stuff, we'd stand up every morning and say the Pledge of Allegiance. That shit doesn't fly now. A lot of these kids can't even take a Bible in the school if they want to. So it's just a whole different ball game, man. And you're exactly right. Like what we've been saying, this is not going to be fixed overnight. It's probably never going to be fixed, but to blame one thing, that's not the problem. That's far from the problem, because if they couldn't get a hold of that, they're going to get a hold of something else to do what they want to do.
Sure.
But we only got a couple of minutes left. But I was going to ask you, how's everything been going with you? What have you been up to?
I unfortunately, there's so much I could tell you about my life right now that is just, it's out of control between, the kids being busy, work being absolutely insane, and then just not having time. I mean, like I couldn't even mow my lawn for almost 2 weeks. That's how busy
Wow.
I've been.
Yeah.
And that was a shit show when I mowed it. I was like, oh my God, I look like the neighbor nobody wants.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Well, as long
And
as you didn't find a car or something or a body, I guess
no,
it's
it's
okay.
it took me like 4.5 hours to mow because it
Wow.
was so friggin' bad. It was total yeah, it was total Trashville.
Yeah.
And I haven't done any gun videos, and then I just did a few of the, a couple here now, starting to build the second AR before I've even shot the first AR.
Yeah.
Totally addicted to it, and that's a problem. But I'm trying to get back on the horse, but it's certainly not easy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you could make it. I know you're a little bit late, but I know everybody, like I said, wants to, check in with you, see how you're doing. You're always welcome to come on anytime you want. But,
Yep.
and this is another thing, and I know you can relate to this too, because your son's in sports and all of that,
Mhm.
and you were too. But this also thing, and I think Scott said it earlier, but I was going to say it, this participation trophy bullshit.
Sure.
That's the thing. Everybody thinks they're entitled to something. I don't, whether it be fame, fortune, hey, I'm popular, whatever. That shit needs to quit too. They need to quit passing out trophies to the worst team in the world.
Right.
And, everybody, that's going to give people something to strive for and become better, not
Right.
just, oh, I participated, so I got my little medal or my little trophy. That shit needs to stop. It
Yeah.
should, I don't know who came up with that, but they should have been beaten.
Right. It's always, oh, well, I got second place ribbon. I go, well, that means you're the first loser. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
so it's like,
yeah,
wow.
if you ain't first, you're last. But it's man, God. And I mean, I used to coach sports too, and I'd hear these little kids, or put it this way, I would hear the parents,
Hmm.
and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You want me to play your kid? Your kid sucks. I'm trying to make them better. And they don't want to hear that. Their kid's the best in their eyes. And I understand that. But, everybody loves their kids. But it's like, man, you got people putting in the hard work
Yeah.
and earning that position. They deserve that position, not just to be handed to somebody else. So,
Yeah.
but
And Bald is giving me crap. He said I should make my kids do it. No, thank you. And honestly, they're probably busier than me. Like my son is, he's going to a different school now, so it's about commuting, and he's in a whole different world now. So it's been rough. It's been a rough couple of months. Oh, and I got the flu of all things.
oh crap.
Yeah, I got the flu in May, and I was like, "How the hell did you get the flu?" But it was bad. It was worse than COVID.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Jesus, man, it's been one of those. It's been
Well,
it's
at
been
least
a
you didn't
year."
get monkey. At least you didn't get the new monkey pox. Holy
Yeah, not
crap.
yet. I guess you got to have sex with a monkey or something to get that. So I'm not sure. I'm not into that. So
What's next? I mean,
yeah.
it's like they keep trying to find all these
Well,
crazy things to scare the shit out of
I think
everybody
we
with.
just got to wait for the zombies and the aliens, and then I think then I think it's going to be game on,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's next.
or at least the
Well,
invasion of Taiwan. Maybe that's next. Who
yeah.
knows?
Well, phew, yeah. Joe stuck his foot in his mouth the other day on that one too.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he
Woo,
did. What a shocker.
good Lord. They were backpedaling that truck quick. But all right, well, we'll let everybody go. You stay on 17. I want to
Okay.
chat with you for a second. But
Yeah.
everybody go over and check out Chris's chat, Chris 740. I appreciate all y'all so much. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go over and check out 1776 or Bust. I put it,
Yep.
and I think Michael did too. Y'all go check him out. He's a good guy, good friend of mine, and we're family as far as I'm concerned. But thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great night. Remember, an unarmed nation's a very weak nation. So y'all carry on.